And that again, ladies and gentlemen, was Amos Lee from the album Spirit. The song is called New Love. And so we'd love to give love to Philadelphia's own. And even though he doesn't live in the area anymore, he was born and bred here in the city and has found a really wonderful way of combining contemporary pop sort of sensibilities with the blues sound that he honed when he was a student down at the University of South Carolina, which is when he really came into prominence. And so, you should know about these connections to the hometown crew and be able to celebrate them in all kinds of meaningful ways. And he is definitely one of those talents that deserves some hometown love and recognition. This is Stephanie Renee welcoming you back to today's TGIF edition of The Mojo. It is the 11 o'clock hour, and Mike Dennis is now in place in the house. How are you, sir?
The juice is loose.
That's going to be your lead-in?
Well, I'm home during the day. They ran that twice. For those who aren't aware, O.J. Simpson got paroled.
Yes.
And, they say...
Everybody's aware.
Well, okay. We're just making the announcement. What I'm talking about, the juice is loose. So, they say Deepak Chopra says there are no coincidences. Right?
Okay.
So I always thought it was funny that OJ would get convicted and sentenced right about a month before Obama went in. And then he got 9 years. So it's sort of like you couldn't have Obama in the White House and OJ Simpson free on the golf course in Florida.
But, so we can definitely have this conversation later in the hour.
Course.
But I think what is fascinating to me is this dogged persistence of trying to make sure somebody gets convicted when they get acquitted of the thing that they really should have gotten convicted for in the first place. Yeah. So because he beat the charges on the murders, it was relentless pursuit. And this doesn't mean that he didn't contribute to this because of the ridiculousness that he participated in afterwards. But the whole idea that he would get 9 to 33 years on robbery
of his own stuff
that he got after he got acquitted for murder is the foolishness of this. And and we had Brother Leroy called into Solomon's show earlier and was just saying people seem to think parole is freedom. And It's not.
Oh, no, they warned him. The whole parole board is like, look, we can't even catch you with a butter knife.
Right.
You can't, if we stop you, if you get a traffic ticket or anything, you're going back in.
You're going back in.
So
that sentence of 9 to 33 years is real, whether he's serving it in a little cell or whether he's out walking around and more prone to do dumb stuff that will bounce him right back in jail. That's real stuff, y'all. For robbery of his own stuff. There are plenty of people who have done far worse and gotten far less time.
Right.
So people, people just need to be clear about how this system works.
They hold a grudge for sure. If in life they might not. In life they might not get your masters. In life they might not get but they keep a list.
Yeah.
So OJ. But I was watching the hearing yesterday. I was like, I forgot how stupid he is. I swear, I watched a documentary and I'm like, okay, wow, they made him to be like this enigma, like he really was like above race, and to the point where Jay-Z writes a song. It's like, no, this guy's just really narcissistic, dumb jock.
Yeah, well, he is the dogged persistence of ego.
Yeah.
And is part of why I have a lifelong hatred of the Dallas Cowboys. Don't start calling in, y'all. This is, because I came up during the era of the 70s and 80s where you had the Tony Dorsetts and you had the Ed Too Tall Jones who were these bigger than life personalities, but they were hateful. Just the way they presented themselves to the world just made me hate them. Yeah. And it's not just because I'm from DC. It's just that persona, that black male persona is one I don't like, have never liked. And OJ fit right into sort of the scheme of that. Like, I'm so good and I'm so pretty that I'm above any kind of critique or,
I guess so, but they were throwing him the biggest softball questions ever. Like, you're going to, and he just would, it's like he didn't know what they're going to ask him. This is his second parole hearing. He was making it more difficult than it needed to be. They were ready to let him go anyway, but he still made it.
So I'm not cheering.
Stay in school, kids.
And I'm not cheering, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of finger wagging on this. I merely say that what he has been, this parole hearing is so much deeper than, OJ's free to just go home, because he's not just free to go home and just be.
Everybody's waiting for him to make a mistake.
Exactly. And as
he needs to stay home and just watch Netflix. Get caught up on all the shows he missed, Breaking Bad.
Be a sedate 70-year-old and call it a day.
Yeah, just stay in the house, OJ. Just watch Orange is the New Black and Breaking Bad, and just,
you know what?
There's Will Smith's got a movie on Netflix. Just make sure somebody
watch his own stuff.
Well, Goldie and the Boxer, classic film. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about not talking about stuff that he's in. I'm talking about the stuff that has been created around his whole situation. Wow. Remind him of how tentative
that's why they ran it twice yesterday, because there's money on OJ. But anyway, without speaking, so
we have much more positive things to talk about with Sarah.
We have with us on the line is our good friend Sarah Mueller, who is founder of the CineSpeak film series, and tonight they kick off a new series called Boycott the Oscars. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're good, and glad to have you on with us today.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Every February we go back and forth about the Oscars, whether we need to support them for validation, to look for acceptance of work that is due, or just forget about it, create the own thing.
And at any moment now, Mike is actually going to speak into the microphone.
Well, I'm holding. You see what's going on.
But still, hold it higher so that you're actually speaking into the mic.
Facebook.
There you go.
When I do this,
don't you hear him better now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, see there. Okay, continue.
Okay. So. All right. Anyway, so Boycott the Oscars. What is this series, and how did it come about?
Yeah, so Spike Lee has long been an inspiration and one of my favorite filmmakers, one of the guys, filmmakers in general, not just the guy, but filmmakers who really changed the game in terms of my perception of what cinema could do in terms of bringing about justice, promoting stories as told by the filmmakers from within the communities that they address. So this really comes out of inspiration of his calling for a boycott, 2 years ago, when, he was noticing the lack of diversity, the lack of attention, which has really been ongoing for years, right?
Yeah.
So we're just kind of trying to go in that spirit, even given some of the changes the Academy has made, even given the fact that, Moonlight won, Best Picture, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Right. Now, the series revolves around a bunch of films that, at the time of their release, were virtually ignored by the Academy.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, tonight, which I'll get to in a second, we're going to be screening Do the Right Thing, in honor of Spike Lee.
Yes.
Yes, and it's perfect, right, because the weather's hot. And
yes.
It takes place on the hottest day of the year, so it feels pretty appropriate. And in August, we're going to be screening Julie Dash's Daughter of the Dust, and in September, we're going to be screening Dee Ree's Pariah.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of great films to be screened and stories to be told.
Indeed. And, this whole idea of, in Philadelphia, we are really territorial about spaces. There's a lot of concern and conversation around the subject of gentrification and what that does to the context of a neighborhood, as well as who is now residing in these spaces and what have you. So talk a little bit about Brewery Town and.
Or not, that American cities are gentrifying, right, all across the country at a rapid rate. Kind of coming off of white flight, right, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and now, more white folks are moving back in, and not just white folks, but, it is, largely the dynamics of what happens in gentrification. And so what's happening in Brewery Town, I don't know if people have been paying attention to the news, there has been some unfortunate press about the neighborhood in the past month or so in regards to a teenager and an off-city cop. I'll let you do the research on that one, and a variety of stories of what actually went down, this particular incident. And so I've been actually planning this series. Our team's been planning this series for a while now. We did a shorter version. We screened She's Gotta Have It last February 2016. And we wanted to do a fuller series to kind of talk about, the racial dynamics of the neighborhood, but also address some of these themes that, Spike covers,
Yeah.
Do a more positive kind of thing to bring the neighborhood together, to honor Black stories, to honor Black filmmakers, and just bring the neighborhood together. And so, it just happens that this specific incident that happened, I guess maybe like 2 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of came right before we announced the series. We've been doing a lot of work to really, bring the neighborhood together and try and use cinema as a driving force to bring folks who might otherwise come together to the table.
Right. So, I mean, just to be clear, so this is happening tonight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crooklyn at 5:30 p.m. and Do the Right Thing at 8 p.m. at the Glass Factory?
Yeah.
1517 North Bailey Street?
Yeah, so that's, the venue is between 26th and 27th Streets in Jefferson and Oxford. For those of you who know North Philly, you can look it up. It's 1517 North Bailey, as Mike said. And actually, I have to make a timely announcement that because of the excessive heat warning, we actually are going to have to cancel the first film.
Okay.
So, just because it's too hot and it's in a warehouse space and there'll be plenty of, fans and cool drinks and things like that. So we're just, we want to make sure that it's most comfortable for all of our guests. So we're going to be screening Do the Right Thing at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, as the sun's going down.
As the sun's going down. Again, it's appropriate with the film, right? It takes place, both films take place in the summertime. But again, we want to keep our guests in mind that, it's going to be a hot one.
Yeah.
As Samuel L. Jackson says in the opening of Do the Right Thing.
Yes, it's hot.
So the new start time again, doors at 6:30, film at 8 o'clock. But there'll be music. John Morrison of the West Philly Funk Crew is going to be spinning tunes, kind of, hearkening off the theme, right? Because Spike, has used music so much in his film, in his legacy, that we're going to honor that too tonight. There'll be snacks, there'll be cool drinks, and it's $10 sliding scale, but nobody will be turned away.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes. Well, we appreciate, Sarah, I got a chance to meet you in the work that you were doing with Black Star. And so the fact that you are doing even more now through CineSpeak to help bring people together to enjoy beautiful films and to have conversations around the themes of all of these things and how important these cultural expressions are to our entire community. It's a great thing, and we're always ready to support it here at Word Radio.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to do this work. And again, this is just the beginning. This is long game work. So I'm in it for the long haul with you all.
We appreciate you.
No, this is super exciting. Again, screening of Do the Right Thing, 8 p.m.
Yep, doors open at 6:30.
And is there a website or a hashtag or a way for people to check this online?
And you can follow the whole journey. You can follow us on CineSpeak on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
That's CINE?
Yep.
SPEAK.
And we're .org, but you can follow us on social media, and you don't need to worry about buying tickets in advance at this point. Like I said, $10 sliding scale at the door. Our hashtag is Boycott the Oscars PHL.
Right, and there's a bit of trivia. So, Do the Right Thing was 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it was famously didn't get any Oscar. It was not nominated for Best Picture, but it's very ironic what won for Best Picture that year. Are you familiar?
Yep.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Daisy, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Different kind of story that how Hollywood wants to portray racial dynamics in our country, right?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we really appreciate you taking the time to check in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to speak with you all.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And we do hope, especially those of you who live in the neighborhood in North Philly, take this opportunity to get out, network with some other folks in the neighborhood, and especially around this film at a time where we are seeing such an uptick in neighborhood violence in our communities and all the different factors that contribute to people's frustration and misunderstanding and all of that as it is explored in this Spike Lee piece. Let's talk about it here in Philly as we're living it and do what we can collectively to help prevent it.
Yeah, always do the right thing.
And so with that, we will take our next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to give you some information about other places here in the area where if you don't have AC, you can go to be cool, and some more great film projects that are going on that deserve your time, attention, and resources. That and much more on this edition of Reelblack Radio, part of the TGIF edition of the Mojo. Stay tuned. From her album Self-Portrait, that's a little piece of Layla Hathaway with a roller skating jam called, they roller skate in the video. But it's definitely got that beat. And the song is called Let Go. And I'm going to do just a little bit of finger wagging, Mike.
Okay.
Because there were people at the Dell last night for the show.
Oh, you got to go?
Who were trying to, no, I wasn't going to sit out in that heat.
Okay.
I love Layla, but no.
Okay.
Who were trying to rush her off stage so that they could hear and see Kim.
Kim over Layla?
Kim was after Layla?
Yeah, Kim was the headliner. So as you see, those of you who don't know, the common opinion in the studio, I'm glad, is the common opinion, because no offense to Kim, I can get with the music on some level.
3 songs.
He's a little repetitive for me. It's
he
not that
doesn't
he's bad.
move. He doesn't move. He doesn't make you move.
He's a little repetitive for me.
Yeah.
And Layla can sing her took us off. And so the whole idea that there was any little wave of feedback coming from the Dell audience last night that was like, basically, Layla, can you hurry up so that Kim can get on stage, makes me feel some kind of way.
Well,
But
I'm sure it was a great show, and I'm sure
Yes.
there's tons of great shows coming to the Dell.
There are plenty of them. They put together a really nice summer concert series this year. And so we'll be giving away tickets on an ongoing basis here on Word Radio. And we hope that everybody will be buying those tickets if you can't win them and going out and having a good time in the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So but right now, we're talking about liberation and with us on the line is a good friend of both of ours.
Yes, who I met because Mike insisted, and I'm glad that he did, that I submit my documentary for the Denver Pan-African Film Festival back in 2005. And so as a part of both of us going to take part in that wonderful event to do some shooting and some screening, I got a chance to meet our next guest. We've had him on the program before talking about all of his wonderful films he has screened at Black Star.
Yes.
So for those of you who have seen some of the documentary work that he did around Cuban folkloric dance traditions, now we're back to talk about Puerto Rico. Oh. And so Eli Jacobs-Fantauzzi now joins us via Skype. Hey, Eli.
Peace. How you doing?
Good, and always glad to check in with you.
Hey, so you're down
Great to be on the show.
You're down in Puerto Rico this morning.
I am. I'm here sitting next to Michael Cordero and my brother Khalil Jacobs-Fantauzzi, and we're going to be heading up to Playuela in a encampment where they're trying to keep the beach from being sold. So that's the plans for today.
That's a big deal. And I got to say, I'm coming to Puerto Rico in October for my birthday. And I have a very fond space in my heart for Luquillo and the people and that public beach and that community. But please let us know more about the work that you are doing with your camera and the activist work that you do as a filmmaker to bring these stories to light.
So basically, we're working on a project called Defend Puerto Rico right now, calling it a living documentary, but it's a multimedia, transmedia project. And what happened was Mikey's from Brooklyn, I'm from California, and being two Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, we felt like the information that was coming our way was just a lot of numbers and pie graphs and charts, and they weren't really telling the story of what was on the island. So first and foremost, we wanted to come to the island and learn for ourselves and hear the stories of what was happening. And when we heard from the people, we said we have to put this out. We have to let other people hear this voice. And so the project was born.
Right. And so you and Michael Cordero, you're working on, it's a transmedia project, right? This is a little bit different than your traditional filmmaking. And we have 3 days left where our listeners can help you get this project made through your Indiegogo, correct?
That is correct. So we made a call out to the community to please help. A local foundation in the Bay Area said they'll give up to 8,000 matching funds.
Nice.
So we're off to a great start, and it feels really good to see people wanting to hear these stories. So we appreciate every donation and contribution.
That's a beautiful thing. And, you know, like I said, this is how you've dedicated your life's work to, through media, bringing us these stories, engaging us in our history, in our culture, in all kinds of ways. Tell people about your company so that, you know, in addition to this film project, they have more of an understanding of how deep you've been in the game.
So the first film that I ever made was called Inventos Hip Hop Cubano, and that's where I met Mike D. When his film was also doing the festival circuit. Yeah. And so that company was called Clinch Fist Productions, and it was focused on telling like long form documentary. And then when I bought my first DSLR camera, I wanted to be able to tell short stories and keep my chops up. So I created Fist Up TV. And Fist Up TV was about turning people on to amazing music, culture, theater, and art through short form storytelling. And that's kind of what we've been doing today. And interestingly enough, my master's degree at NYU, kind of by default, because 4 years of film school, I didn't have the money, and they rarely give any grants or to be able to go to the film school. So I did an interactive, it was called ITP, at Tisch School of the Arts with a focus on film and video. It was only 2 years, and I had a full ride scholarship.
Beautiful.
So this is my education. It's like going back to what I've studied and what I learned. So for this project, we're able to use not just the long form documentary, although that will be a project coming soon, but this is really about telling the stories right now and watching them grow. In real life, that you're connected to real people. You could connect them. Say it's an agriculture project, and you know a distributor. Boom, you just changed that person's life forever. So it's really about seeing these grow, sharing these stories, linking them with people, and that's what our community is good at. That's what we do already. That's how I'm here talking on the show.
Well, without a doubt. So I understand Mikey is with you, you said?
And Mikey's right here.
Yeah, so I have a question for Mikey. So, you know, I mean, and for those who don't know, they can go to Indiegogo.com and look up Defend Puerto Rico project. And you've already reached your goal, but there's 3 days left that you can match, and there's some amazing perks.
I was going to say, I mean, just the whole idea of the matching goal of the $8,000 and how much further that can go when you make your personal contributions is important. But right. You said you had a question.
Yeah,
for
so we're in flexible goal time now. So, you know, it may expand, which is what Indiegogo tends to do. But I mean, you know, for those who don't have their boots on the ground, what's happening right now in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
I mean, last I heard that there's an amazing deficit and financial.
The bankruptcy, yeah.
Bankruptcy, yeah.
Hey, this is Mikey here.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey, how you doing?
So yeah, the $72 billion debt. How are people doing down there today?
Yeah, I think it's about above 80 at this point. It's probably increased a lot. But right now, right now we're dealing with austerity. So there's a lot of actions taking place on the island that the Fiscal Control Board have been starting to take action on and put into place. As recently as May has been with the university's budget cuts and the schools closing.
Yeah.
So right now we're about to start seeing as kids start going back to school and classes start up again, we're going to start to see the effects of those cuts because a lot of kids are not coming back to class because of some of the cuts that are happening. And about 180 schools have closed, elementary and middle school and high school. So there's a relocation of those students to other schools, and some of the nuances of those that people don't make care of is that kids have to travel for school, and some of these families don't have the transport to another school.
You're breaking up a little bit. Well, let's see if we can get it straightened up. But I mean, so let me just reorient the question. So I mean, so why now? It's very important for us to be telling our own stories. So it's great that you and Eli are down there entrenched, capturing these stories firsthand, because we're getting a different narrative, I think.
Well, I want to piggyback off of what Mike just said, because one of the things that I find incredibly frustrating, especially, as I consider myself to be a member of the Afro-Latino diaspora, is that we talk about Puerto Rico like Puerto Rico is a foreign country. Puerto Rico is an American territory. And so I'm also curious to find out if there is a more vigorous conversation happening among the natives of Puerto Rico about what the U.S. government isn't doing to recognize the crisis of the people that are on the ground on the island.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now that's very interesting on the island because I think the locals haven't really they haven't used the word colonization, not until recently, not until the debt crisis started and austerity and the fiscal board was put into action, that conversation on the island amongst locals about being a colonized territory has been a lot more rampant.
Yeah.
So right now more locals are talking about that as their experience and now being able to identify and, point the finger and be like, yeah, we are colonized. That's right. Like, I didn't realize this. And now, so I think people on the island are really, they're getting together around that idea more. And I think, from my perspective, I went to school for branding, marketing, and advertising. And for me, the project helps rebrand Puerto Rico. And that's what I think, essentially needs to happen. Like you said, the island is viewed as this, vacation spot, Miami Beach style, get on the strip. So I think that branding needs to change in order for people to have a lot more empathy towards the communities that are living here and that are doing really good work here outside of that touristy kind of branding that have been instilled on the island by American companies, for specific purpose, So I think the branding comes with our identity, with looking at what our identity are as people and our historic context of our identity, and its relationship to the world. And that's why we're trying to involve the diaspora and Puerto Ricans outside of Puerto Rico that are living all around the world to really engage in that conversation around what our identity means. From there, when we're able to define that, we're able to build something new off of that.
Yes.
So circling back to Eli, so it's a transmedia project. So what's the approach? How long have you been down there? What kind of images are you capturing? What can we expect when this thing is done?
So we've already started. So make sure to check us out on Facebook, Defend Puerto Rico. And we're telling stories of musicians doing resistance. We're talking to our moms who were locked up for close to 2 decades in prison. Dilcia Pagan, she's on there talking about why she's willing to put her life and her freedom on the line for the liberation of Puerto Rico. We're talking to local coffee growers who are trying to say, let's revitalize and make the best coffee possible here in Puerto Rico for ourselves. Doesn't have to be exported. We're talking, today we're hoping to go again to La Abuela, where they're trying to build a resort on the beach, and the people of the area are saying, no, this is our beach, this is public land, and this can't happen. So those are the type of stories that you get to hear through Defend Puerto Rico.
Love it.
Yes.
So, I mean, now, Eli, you've been doing a lot of traveling. Every time I see you, you got a new film, and it's beautiful, and it's exploring a different facet of sort of a South American Latino culture. What do you see now that you have like 10, 15 years of work? What's the connecting fabric in that body of work? What's the commonality?
So, like you said, from Cuba to Colombia to Ghana, West Africa to Tanzania to India, I just see that governments are corrupt, and this new age of this corporate takeover and wealth by any means is hurting the people. And I feel like we're at a state right now where our consciousness is growing and we're becoming aware, and it's in front of our face, especially with presidents like Trump. And here in Puerto Rico with Rosselló, it's like they're doing it right in front of our face, and we now have the means through social networks to like turn over rocks and show people exactly what it is. And I see people standing up, and I feel like that's the common thread, is that It's not just a local crisis, that these are a crisis happening all over. I just came from Detroit, where we sent a Puerto Rican brigade to go learn from Detroit. It's the same thing that happened there. It's the same thing that's currently happening here. And we have to learn from each other and know that we're in this together.
Absolutely. Well, it's a conversation that we've been engaging just in casual conversation around the office. One of our newest staff members is Puerto Rican. And so and she also made these parallels between what's going on there and what happened in Detroit. And so this conversation about, kind of reframing for the American people who are here stateside, that Puerto Rican citizens are our brothers and sisters quite literally, and that we need to be engaged in what's going on the island and understand the role that the American government has played in the suppression of the people and the crisis as it exists, and contributing to the solution is really, really important work. And so we thank you for using your cameras in the way that you do and helping to teach us about our own history, and glad to know that your project's fully funded. People in our listening audience can still contribute to the ongoing work that you were doing in showing us these stories and making us more conscious overall. And we always love talking to you, man. So make sure you continue to stay engaged with us and let us know about the great work you're doing.
Definitely. And we'll be coming to Philly. We have a traveling exhibit curated by Adrian Viajero. And so it'll be in Philadelphia in mid-September.
Excellent.
So make sure to check that out. It's called Cite Cien. It's about 100 years of American citizenship, forced citizenship. And right after they gave us the citizenship, guess what they did? Drafted us to their war.
Right.
So 20,000 Puerto Ricans straight to war after. So it's not, these things aren't a coincidence. Please continue to check out the project, and we're excited to share these stories with you. Thank you guys so much for the work that you guys do day in, day out.
And you are obligated to come to the studio when you were in Philadelphia, when the exhibit is here, for us to continue that conversation.
Sounds great. Much love you guys. Thank you so much.
Fist up, Eli, Jacobs-Fantauzzi.
Big up.
Indeed. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we take our next commercial break. And when we come back, Mike and I will do kind of a speed round.
No, this is going to be Siskel and Ebert. I can't believe you like this girl trip movie. But
what?
Anyway.
Mind
we got
you,
something to talk
Mike
about.
starts the show with OJ and is going to try and get on me about liking Girls Trip. We'll come back and talk much more about the releases that you can see if you choose to see over the weekend when we continue with today's Real Black Radio. Stay tuned.
They go, it's just the way that it goes. Everything is everything. It's alright.
As all the head nodding continues here in the studio from the album Lost and Found, that is Lettucey with a track titled All Right. And we want everyone in our listening audience to be all right as well. It is hot out. And so before Mike and I get into our next layered debate on the releases for this weekend, I do want to let you know that a heat health emergency has been declared in the city of Philadelphia through 8 p.m. tonight. And so if you do not have air conditioning, if you need to get someplace cool, there are libraries that are operating on extended hours today in order for you to go and soak up as much as you can before this heat emergency is lifted. Frankfurt Library is open until 7 p.m. today. Haddington is open until 7. Lucian Blackwell, Oak Lane, and South Philly are all open till 8 p.m. tonight. So hopefully one of those 5 locations are close to where you might be. Please be clear that they have extended hours today because of the heat health emergency that has been declared in the city of Philadelphia. Those 5 locations again are Frankfurt, Haddington, both open until 7 p.m. this evening, and Lucian Blackwell, Oak Lane, and South Philly libraries are open until 8 p.m. tonight. Go watch a movie, listen to a CD, read a book, soak up the air conditioning for free.
It's no joke out there. And, you know, also if you have pets, make sure that they're hydrated and they're looked after
and
too.
Inside. It's too hot for them to be
Oh,
outside.
show the Facebook people what I brought you from the new Royal Farms.
I pointed to it.
I'm in trouble because those are like
Ardabian cookies.
My like anytime I go to DC, I look for these chocolate chip cookies, and now they open the Royal Farms.
Mike fusses with me, but he loves me, and he brings me goodies.
Yeah, we love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do.
And so
love
Royal Farms, is this a chain? Is this an individual store?
It's like 7-Eleven and Wawa, but it's in
Okay.
Baltimore. So for whatever reason, they decided to open one on next to I-95 entrance to Aramingo. So,
Okay.
How are you
So-
from the DMV and you don't know about Royal Farms?
So
There were not Royal Farms when I grew up there.
Oh, I was like, they make some good fried chicken.
See.
They're known for their
I was gonna
fried
say
chicken.
this would not have been a thing that my family would patronize.
I
was like, there was Holly Farms, and they made chicken, so I was familiar with not Royal Farms. This is not something I know.
I tried their chicken. I don't think the chicken is that great. Like I like better, like Popeyes is better, but their chicken tenders incredible.
Yes.
So if you're up that way, stop, get them cookies, and just say
Yes, and I'm going to share staff members who have the station on. They're listening at your desks. I'll share my cookies when I get off the air.
Okay. So it's hot out. Go to a movie. Girls Trip is your choice this week.
And I'm just listen. Mike clearly has some
It
reservations.
was okay. I'm watching. I'm like, this is a bachelor party.
As a black woman with crazy sister friends, this is absolutely the film that I would go have cocktails first and then go see in the theater. I literally laughed myself hoarse at the screening, primarily because of Tiffany Haddish. Pound to the sister from South Central, who is the relative unknown compared to the other women in the cast, who held her own and stole most of the scenes she was in. She crazy.
Oh, God.
Understand?
Yeah,
but funny.
Yeah, they let her go off.
Yes.
I mean, I think, all right. So when you go,
I don't think most of her stuff was scripted.
I mean, I wasn't a fan going in. Like from the very first trailer was like a red band R-rated trailer. Like a lot of the jokes that I'm sure like the standouts were in the trailer. Like the wire thing when they're going across the thing and all that stuff. So and where she's hiding the drugs, all this stuff is in the trailer. So I'm like, this is gonna be nasty. And then they didn't put any money into the poster, and then the whole movie, it just looked like the all-star remake of On the Come Up at the Source Awards, because it's all product placement. Like half the movie shot on an iPhone. Like they put no money into the production on this movie. It was just as low budget as it comes. But payday for Queen Latifah.
Mike has his production value critiques.
It's cheap. It's a cheap movie.
Listen,
Kayla
J.
Tangerine was shot on an iPhone.
Kayla J. Look at me. You heard from Mike. Now look at me. I am saying that from the black woman sister friend context, there need be no men. Men don't have to go see this film. It is about the bonding of the women, Kofi Siriboe and Lorenz Tate. Period. Period. That's all you need to know. That is what will get them their box office draw. That's what will make people enjoy it.
Shout out to Malcolm D. Lee and Will Packer and Kenya Barris and Tracy Oliver.
Yes.
It's a
I didn't need high production values.
Very well put together.
I had the sister friends, I had Kofi, and I had Lorenz. That's all I needed.
Is it like a modern day Waiting to Exhale? Like looking at the trailers, that's kind of how I feel.
Waiting to Exhale, really? No. It's Living Single, the motion picture. That's all it is.
That's all you had to say. You don't understand. Living Single, that's Michelle.
This is what I'm saying to you. So I appreciate that Mike has his filmmaker critique. That's not why I went. That's not what I was looking for, and I didn't need to get
really?
that.
Did you need the grapefruit? Was that?
Listen,
That was one of the funny. Are you
don't
kidding
ruin
me?
the movie for me.
Listen.
I'm not ruining anything.
No, I'm saying you have to understand that in context. Yes, I did. Absolutely needed it.
This is like Millie Jackson if they gave her a movie deal. This movie is just so raw and nasty.
Oh my goodness! No, it was not. That was particularly freaking funny.
Queen Latifah and all. Well, I'll give Tiffany Haddish credit because she definitely, she stole every scene she was in.
Yes.
It's nice to see Lorenz Tate, although I'm still not convinced that he's taller than Kevin Hart.
He's not. He's little. He's
like
still
the way
fine.
they kept
He's
filming
little and fine.
Ladies,
listen.
Well, what they did, they must have kept.
Facebook Live.
They must have
folks,
kept Kevin Hart.
Look into
think
my
Mike-
eyes.
I think Mike is hating.
Look into my eyes. This is not Oscar worthy. I am not lauding this film on any of the principles that we talk about classic quality cinema. This is not that. This is your unplug, sister friend get together, ogle fine men, and just take yourself away from your troubles for 2 hours. That's what this is. Okay. Do it. Do it.
OJ's free, and we get this.
You know what?
You know what?
I'm really gonna need you to stop equating these two things.
There are no coincidences.
Shush.
Well, it was all right. So I'll
we
give
run out of time,
2.5 stars for me.
Before we, of course, it's out of 5.
Out of 5 is
3.5 for the pure entertainment value for Black women. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me.
And I like Jada because she kind of let herself go a few times. There was a few scenes where she really got into her character quite a bit, and I believe I bought into it.
Okay,
so I give her credit, but I
didn't go for the story. I went for sister friend bonding and pretty men, and I got it, and I was happy.
For
the people who want story and quality cinema, then we want to remind our Forward Movement members that on Monday evening, we are having a special screening of the film Detroit in partnership with Marshall Mitchell, and you get a chance to see it before it is released on a national level. The film is released on August 4th. This coming Monday, July 24th, we are hosting a special screening for our members, and you must RSVP in order to get on the list and to get the location of the screening of the film. It is limited seating, so do not delay. This amazing film about the Algiers Motel incident during Detroit's 1967 12th Street riot is going to be a must-see for those of us who are continuing the conversation about historical suppression and police aggression in our communities.
Yeah, well, trust me, this movie's not out till August 4th. Mm-hmm. If this... you think it's hot today? It's gonna be hot Monday.
Yes,
with Michael Cord talking about this movie.
Indeed,
like this
and
movie
there's a
is
panel
definitely
discussion afterwards.
It's definitely gonna ruffle some feathers. I would, if you're a Word member, you definitely want to be at this screening. If you're gonna see it, go see it for free and be there with Michael Cord talking about this movie.
Exactly.
It's definitely something.
And so in order to RSVP, our Forward members must call our business line today immediately to get on this list because it's gonna fill up. 215-425-7875. This is a member perk. Membership has its privileges, and this is one that you absolutely want to take advantage of. Monday evening, 6 p.m., and when you call to RSVP, you will be given the location of this screening, and we want you to fill it up and take part in the conversation.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. So, just as we wrap up, some cool things came out this week. There's a Proud Mary trailer, which is the new Taraji P. Henson movie. It just dropped. It's in front of the Girls Trip movie. Taraji as a hit woman, and she's kicking butt and taking names.
Yes,
and I'm looking for it's Screen Gems, so it's like they paid no money. It's obviously really cheap, but Danny Glover's in it. It's some cool trailer. Look for it on Vimeo or YouTube. Also this week they dropped the trailer for Bright, which is apparently going to go right to Netflix. It's a $100 million movie.
Wow.
Starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. That was done by this David Ayer who did Suicide Squad, and it looks like it's going to premiere directly to Netflix, which is odd to me in December, but it's like it's a cop movie with superheroes, and the trailer's really interesting.
Interesting. Well, Will is wheeling and dealing, so I'm sure he sees some bright side in that.
Well, it's a legit movie. It's like, wow, okay, so this is what your subscription gets you. And then, I'm still hanging on the Tidal membership, so I would, if you still have your Tidal, check out the Brooklyn.
I have it for free for 6 months. Why am I getting rid of it?
Well, I'm just saying, if you still have Tidal, that DMX performance at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival video. He was on fire. Like he really, and then the next day they announced he might be going to jail for tax evasion.
It's DMX. See, this is the problem that I have. Stop. He wrote a whole book about his relationship to dogs. Come on.
He's a genius.
And so, Kayla J's laughter says everything I need to say.
I just wish DMX and ODB put a record out.
Oh my God! It'd be too much black man yelling on one record.
Look,
no.
if ODB was still alive, and I had a studio, I would have made a cop buddy picture with DMX and ODB as cop buddies.
And you'd still be broke.
But he doesn't like Girl Trip.
And he'd still be broke. That's the thing. He'd still be broke. Whatever he spent to make that film, he would never have made it back.
Well, is that why we do everything for the money? Is that why you're going to see Girls Trip?
No,
I do
maligned
for the
that
money.
movie because you said it looked cheap. I'm telling you, support it regardless.
Shout out to Ava DuVernay, who's in everything. She shows up in freaking Girls Trip.
And I must say, since you brought her up,
Let Us See,
the trailer for A Wrinkle in Time got me misty-eyed, y'all. If you have a girl in your house who, like me, is over the moon over A Wrinkle in Time, or the entire trilogy that this film is based off of, the sheer energy of the trailer got me all deep in my feels. And I'm so excited to see this film when it comes out in March. It's not out until March, but it's beautiful.
Get me past this Oscar season and on this black nihilism. I want some Black Panther. I want some Wrinkle in Time in my life, because some of these Oscar movies that are coming up with black folks are starting to scare me a little bit. Shout out to John Singleton, who gave me a little bit of time to talk to him at the Snowfall premiere. And once again, the John Coltrane movie is extended to another weekend.
Yay!
So it's
Excellent.
five weeks in a row. I've never seen that for a movie at the Ritz. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's at the Ritz Bourse, the Coltrane documentary.
Thank you for reminding me of that, because I've been meaning to see it and haven't yet. So this hot weekend might be a very good reason to go and check it out. And we are out of time, but thank you as always. I'm now putting it on you for next Friday. Early leave.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Well,
so Kayla J has hooked us up with the Facebook Live. I would normally do it on mine, but I wait until Mike is sitting here in order to tie up my phone.
I threw off your rhythm.
Yeah, so we're working it out. But thank you for everybody who's been checking us out. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue conversation about our good mental health, even on these hot days, and how you should be going into your weekend with some positivity and some great things to be engaged with. And we'll do more of that on the other side of this break. Ta-ta to the folks on Facebook Live. More mojo coming at you in a moment.
Join Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church.